I'm Ed Lea. I'm an independent iPhone developer. I didn't go into the whole sort of jailbreak scene. I waited and waited and waited, and then when the SDK did come out, before I could do anything on my phone, I kind of grabbed that as quickly as possible and just started writing code to see what I could do. I was working for a startup, previously based in Manchester, and initially I was writing code for them. Then I did a bit of sort of other things for them, and ended up moving to London into a pre-sales technical role. So not writing code, but sort of promoting the products that were being written to banks, to telecoms, and everything like that. And because I wasn't writing code, I kind of felt I was missing it. I moved away from that because I was a bit bored of it, but then when it wasn't there, I missed it. So in my spare time, I started writing some iPhone code just to keep my hand in. So the SDK became available, I downloaded it, I started writing code, looking at Apple's demos, reading documentation, blogs, all that kind of stuff. There's an application I knew I wanted to write, just really to try it out, see what I could do, something I wanted for a long time. So my first app was called Over Here. Not a great app, but it did the job. What it basically did was it allows you to share your location easily with someone else. It uses the iPhone's core location, it locates where you are, shows you on a Google map where you are, allows you just to fine-tune that position, and then send a Google Maps link in an email to someone else who's clearly trying to meet you or whatever. So I wrote that code relatively quickly, got it working, tested it in the SDK as much as I could in the simulator. And then eventually Apple allowed sort of mere mortals to run things on their phones. I wasn't one of the first 4,000 developers, or however many it was, to actually gain early access to sort of code signing and running things on devices. So as soon as that was possible, I tested on my device, submitted it to Apple, and then played the waiting game for the Apple review process.
And how was that, your first review process? Was that nerve-wracking or challenging?
It was. I was kind of obviously constantly checking email, waiting for the emails, and eventually I got something back, which is from Apple, saying, sorry, we can't let you sort of submit this to the App Store at this time. And then it was basically to do with the accuracy of the location. Apple reckoned that the location they were getting on their phone was about 2 miles away from where they actually were, but whereas on an iPod Touch, it was bang on, which made no sense. I have never owned an iPod Touch. I really should get one. I've done no testing on an iPod Touch. It was working fine on my iPhone. So I tweaked loads of things and played around and dug a bit deeper into core location, which is the only mechanism Apple gives you for finding your location. And on second attempt, they approved it. Then I had a bit of a reality call into the pricing and the economy structure of the App Store. So I thought, this is quite a useful app. I like it. I'd use it. I'd pay for it. So I wouldn't pay a massive amount, maybe $2. So I put on at $2 and left it there for a few weeks until another application came along doing the same thing. Not as well, if I say so myself. For example, it didn't let you do any sort of tweaking of your location. It didn't even show you a map. It just showed you a longitude and a latitude and said, that's where you are, let's send it off to your mate. And theirs was 99 cents. And so I realised all my sales dropped down, as you would. I mean, none of them were big sales. I mean, if I'd made $500 from this application in total, I'd probably be surprised. So in this sort of micro ecosystem, I saw them go down, so right, drop it down to 99 cents. And it didn't really pick up after that because the market was flooded with similar applications. I mean, it's not a particularly novel idea. It was a good grounding for me to get into the App Store, learn lessons about pricing, about submitting to Apple. And I mean, I still use it. It's still quite a handy little tool.
Still on mine?
Yeah, great. But it's now even a free application. I realise there's no point in trying to charge for it. Just get it out there. There's no real support implications from it. No one really. So I've got a get satisfaction page for users. No one really uses it. So it doesn't really cost me anything. I've just left it out there. When I realised I wasn't going to get rich off or even earn any money from Over Here, I was sitting around my dining room table, or kitchen table one evening with my girlfriend and a friend from, who actually lived in the flat upstairs. We were talking about what we could do with the iPhone and what ideas would be good on the iPhone. And this friend actually works for Sky. In their internet department, sort of, it used to be EasyNet or one of those ISPs that Sky bought. And we were saying, wouldn't it be great if you could set your Sky Plus to record from your iPhone? And I thought, yeah, that would be great. It's not going to be possible though. And I kind of slept on it, and the next day I sort of thought about it, and well, I'll have a look, see what I can do.
This is like TiVo for the Americans.
Yeah, yeah. Being in the UK, I forget the rest of the world has other things. So yeah, yeah. Basically, it's a set-top box that's got a hard disk in it, and you can record. And obviously, to use that more sort of interestingly, if you can record from your phone, brilliant. I saw what Sky had on their website and everything else, and realised actually, yeah, it wouldn't be that hard to make an iPhone front end to what's there. They do have a website to set your Sky Plus box to record. It doesn't work very well on Safari on the iPhone. It's got about 15 megabytes of JavaScript that needs to be loaded, which just blows WebKit out of the water. And So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I made an application called TV Plus. It's a very light, sort of very simple to use, clean interface to that for setting Sky Plus or TiVos or whatever to record.
What price was that when it went onto the App Store?
That went on at $2.99 sterling, so that's $5, $6, and it did quite well.
Quite well. Hold on. Was it not number one at the App Store?
It did in the UK App Store. Yeah, it crept up through the rankings. So once I submitted that, it went in at somewhere near the bottom, obviously, and it kind of came to the top 100, which was great. I was quite happy. Then it was the top 20, top 10, and sort of 7th. It was, I think, 5th for quite a long time. And then there was one weekend that it went up to 2nd on the Friday, and then on the Saturday morning or Sunday morning, it was the number 1 app, where it stayed for about a week and a half in the UK.
And so were you, I mean, literally, reload, checking?
Not quite that sort of fanatically, mainly because I think the App Store only updates every sort of 6 hours or so, it seems. So I learned that lesson pretty quickly as well.
For the developers watching who haven't had their app in the top 10, top 1, number 1 app, how did it feel?
Oh, it felt great. It was good. I mean, it kind of, I don't know, just cemented what I was doing. It made it all seem like, yeah, actually, I am doing something that people want. And so it's nice. I mean, it's not like getting a number 1 single. I mean, it's a bit different. I didn't get a DJ calling me up on a Sunday evening saying, congratulations. But yeah, it's good. And it's what you want to aim for. If only because it drives sales. The number 1 app on iTunes, on the App Store, is going to get downloaded longer and then stay at number 1 for longer. There's kind of a bit of a feedback loop that once you get there, you stay there for, I found, almost 2 weeks.
Do you think that it helped that you went, so by the time you were in the 20s, and then is it more or less a foregone conclusion you're going to stay in the 20s and go up just because of the nature of the story?
I think so. Well, I think it depends on your app a lot of the time. But yeah, on the whole, that does seem to be the case. If you look at sort of the free app charts, I think Facebook stayed around the number 11, 15 sort of mark for the past year, pretty much. It's that kind of app that everyone who gets an iPhone is going to download. So that's a special case. But yeah, an app like TV Plus, and the key thing was always promoting it. And beyond the App Store, I didn't do a great deal of promotion. I mean, I emailed Mobile Industry Review, and there are a few other blogs that kind of did feature it. But on the whole, it was just that presence in the top 10 that really drove the bulk of the sales. Well, for about 6 months, I was kind of the only game in town, the only app that you could get on your iPhone to record Sky Plus. About a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, Sky actually released their official Sky Plus application, which is a free download. I, of course, can't compete with free. Well, I could try, but there's not much point. And so at that point, I saw sales pretty much disappear. I mean, that app made it to number 1 in the free app chart. And so clearly, there's a whole host of people who didn't even know about my application or didn't think it was worth £3. And there's a debate there about whether or not the application was worth £3. I mean, I've always felt it was, which is why I was charging £3 for it. But yeah, I mean, the fact that this app made it to number 1 in the free app charts, I know from experience that takes a lot more volume of sales to get high in the free app chart. So clearly, there's probably an order of magnitude more people who downloaded that application. It's not just those sort of top 10 charts, it's what Apple are playing and the staff picks and all those different segments on the front page of the App Store that do drive sales.
How have you found the Apple staff that you've been interacting with?
Actually, it's lucky you asked me this week and not a few weeks ago, because I can be a bit politer. The App Store review team are very matter of fact. They kind of to the letter, very regimented. There's no sort of personal contacts. There's no sort of, this is from Jeff. It's always just, we've reviewed it as per section 3.7 of the developer agreement program. Your app's rejected. If you can fix it, brilliant, try again. Which isn't always very helpful, because it seems like they'll go through all this list, and the first time they hit something, they'll fire back and say, right, there's a problem, go and fix that. If you can fix it, we'll have another look. Okay, you fix that, next down the list, comes back again because there's another thing. It was still there in the original version. They just didn't think to actually either get that far or tell you about it, which isn't necessarily very helpful. I've got another application that's done quite well called MMS,